Tina Cooks is made possible through the generous support of E.T. Cody and Sons Auto Parts, Leominster, Papa John's Pizza, Leominster and Fitchburg, Boucher Construction, Central Mass Sand and Gravel. Hi, welcome to Tina Cooks. Tonight we're going to be doing a frittata, which is an egg omelet. I'll show you that. That's going to be a quick meal, like a quick supper. But first we're going to start out with some bruschetta. It's just Italian toast with some tomatoes and basil and parsley. I'll show you right now. We're going to start by cutting up our tomatoes. Now you want your tomatoes to marinate a little bit. I'm going to take out my seeds. I don't want seeds. I'm using plum tomatoes because they don't have that many seeds in them. Okay, you could put these in hot water and take the skins off too, but I like the skins. Kind of like almost a diced tomato salad. In the summertime when I have a lot of tomatoes, I do a tomato salad, which is just tomatoes and oil and garlic and fresh basil. It's delicious. I'm just going to take out all these seeds because I don't want them in here. Actually, in the tomato salad, I just slice up the tomatoes whole. You don't mind having the seeds. Okay. I'm going to put these in this lid right here for now, just to get them off my cutting board. There we go. Trusty towel. And we're going to dice up these tomatoes. Make sure you tuck your fingers under. You don't want to go chopping off any fingers. It's not a good idea to do that. This dish. Oh, actually, that's the wrong dish, but that's okay, now these are the tomatoes. Now, you can take garlic and dice it real fine if you want and throw it in the tomatoes. I choose not to do that. My daughter has a hard time with fresh garlic. So I use the granulated garlic. It's easier to digest and it still has a lot of great flavor. Another thing you could do if you wanted is warm up your oil with the chopped garlic and soften the garlic up a little bit. Almost make an infused oil. That will help, you know, with the raw garlic taste. It won't be so strong. You're gonna put some salt and some pepper. You could also mince onions in here. I like a little bit of pepper. And then we're gonna put some, this is olive oil. Okay. All right, we'll see how that looks first. I'm gonna actually put a little more in here. There we go, because you almost want it like a dressing, okay? Now, last of all, I'm going to add some fresh parsley and some fresh basil, but it's frozen, so I always wait till the last minute to do this. Once it gets into the oil, it'll be fine. I got a call this week from someone that asked me about the basil. So I think people are actually freezing their basil this summer. This is basil, or basilgo. I'm gonna put that in. Okay. And this is parsley. And we're gonna put a chunk of this in. Parsley, you don't kind of like leave individual leaves. I usually just clump it in there because it's a little harder to I don't want to put as much parsley. I just want a little taste of parsley because I want more basil in there than I do parsley. Okay. And then we're going to mix this up. Now, what you want to do is let this marinate. Oh, you could probably do this in the morning or even the day before if you wanted to, you know. Okay, this is what you want your tomatoes to look like, okay? Nice and chopped up basil, parsley. We're gonna let these marinate about an hour. Now, if you want, you can use an Italian dressing if you want to have a little bit of vinegar. I like it with just the olive oil. So we're gonna let these marinate and we'll be right back. This is the potato that we're gonna start out to make our frittata. Okay, now let's say you get in from work one night and it's 5 o'clock and you're tired and you just wanna hurry up. This is what I do. I usually just clean off these bad spots here. Now you can use this potato nice and fresh just the way it is, okay? Or you can take a fork and stab it, and I do this because it's quicker. If you were to just cut this up and put it in the frying pan, you're looking at a 15-20 minute wait. We're gonna take this, we're gonna put it in the old trusty microwavable 4 minutes. And while that's going, we're gonna push that aside. We're gonna slice some onions. I'm gonna cut them bite-sized because my son hates onions. He can't stand eating them, but I cook them for him all the time. How can you eat without having onions in your food? That's like not using salt or pepper. All right, we're gonna trim some of this fat off. This is just a sirloin strip type thing. When I make frittata, a lot of times I'll have steak left over from one night of supper, or I'll have some ham left over, cold cut ham. You can put whatever you want in here. I mean, I've done them with just vegetables, artichokes and stuff like that. But we're partial to a steak one. So I got fresh meat here because I didn't have any leftover steak. The last time I made steak, everybody ate it all. Everybody's been hungry lately. I don't have that many leftovers. I like leftovers. Then you don't have to cook every single night. And we're gonna cut these small. You don't want them big, you want them small pieces. You want the potatoes the same way. Okay. I'm gonna do my prep here and then we're gonna go to the stove. I'm gonna get my frittata going while the tomatoes are marinating. Okay, so now you got nice little bite-sized pieces of steak, and that's it. I am not going to throw any cloves of garlic in here. It's just going to be seasoned with granulated garlic. I'm going to throw this in my sink, wash my hands, because we're working with meat, and that potato's popping, so it's got a few minutes yet, so we're going to wait for that potato to finish, then I'll show you how we're going to dice that up.
Danger, danger, Will Robinson.
Okay. Now this is a hot potato, very hot. Okay. Now you'll notice it's still hard. It's not really cooked that much. It is a little bit. And it's still steaming. So you can still see that the center's a little bit raw, but it just gives it enough of an edge where it's not, it'll cook in half the time. I'm gonna cut these into pieces. This thing is hot. It might be a good idea if you wait a few minutes, let it cool off. You don't have to burn your fingers off. It's not a requirement of cooking. Of course, if I'm not burning my fingers off, I don't feel like I am cooking. Okay, now that we have all this prepped, boy, this knife's gonna need some serious washing. We're gonna go over to the stove and we're gonna start our frittata. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start our frittata. This is like one of my favorite meals. I'm laughing because Carl said everything is my favorite meal, and you wanna know something? It is. I just love my food, my Italian food. We're gonna put a little olive oil in here and some butter because I want to brown my potatoes. I'm gonna throw in my onions first because I want to get those going. Okay. I'm gonna pump up that heat. Let that start to cook a little bit. It's a little bit slow. See, it's starting to melt now, so. Alrighty. I'm gonna give these a minute. Now these potatoes, as you can see, they're not really cooked, but they're started, so they're gonna take less time. But we're gonna let these onions go just a little bit. I want them to get soft a little bit. Okay, I'm leaving them a little bit bigger than I normally do, because I like onions. They're good for you, make you strong like bulls. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to add my potatoes. Okay, of course I have to throw a few on the floor. I don't want the floor to be left out, you know. If I don't feed it, it gets upset. All right, we're going to lightly season these potatoes. I lightly season everything. If you haven't started to learn that by now, then I'm not doing a good job. We'll add some potatoes, some pepper. Okay. And of course we're going to add some granulated garlic. I have it in a big plastic container because I was too lazy to fill my small container. Alrighty, and I'm going to get some fresh parsley. Watch the potatoes. It's the only thing about frozen parsley and basil. You kind of got to keep it frozen until you're ready to use it. Otherwise, it does get mushy. So you always run into the freezer every few minutes here and there. But this is going to make your potatoes taste good. Yes, it is. There we go. All right, now I do want these potatoes to brown. All right. So we're going to put them down just a tish. And this frittata from start to finish will take you about 20-25 minutes. But you don't want to spend 20 minutes just doing the potatoes. So we're going to cover that up and we're going to let them get nice and brown before we add our meat. And I'm going to stick my parsley back in the freezer. I'm going to toss this before there we go. There we go, nice. You can smell the butter. The butter is going to help these brown up too. So now I'm just going to let them sweat. I'm just going to let them cook for a few minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes. And we'll be right back. While those potatoes are going, I'm going to break my eggs. I usually go 2 eggs per person. So there's going to be Adam and Heather and me and Carl. That's 4. So I want around 8 eggs. These yellow eggs, these yellows are from the white cake I made. I'm just going to use them up. So those count as 2 eggs. I think that might do it. I'm going to add one more little one just for good measure. If you have leftovers, it's still good the next day. You can just either warm it up or just, I put it in the toaster oven when I'm toasting my toast. I think I don't have any eggs in there. I have a bad habit. Sometimes I crush good eggs. There's none in there. Okay, I'm going to mix this up. I don't add milk. I don't add water. I just use eggs. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt. And I'm going to use fine pepper. I don't want chunks of pepper in my eggs. I just don't like it. I don't want to put too much because I already seasoned the potatoes and stuff, and we're going to season this. We're going to season the meat too when we add the meat. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check these potatoes, which they're starting to look good. See how they're getting nice and brown and all nice and crunchy. That's how you want them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the potatoes out of the middle, like so. Get them kind of evenly distributed. And I'm going to take my meat, and I'm going to put my meat right in the middle. Okay? And I am going to season it. And I'm going to use a little bit of salt. And notice I salted the stove again. I think the stove gets more seasoning than my food does. Some pepper. Some light granulates on the steak. Yeah. I'm going to toss this around in the middle so it starts to brown a little bit. And you do want to cook your steak. You don't want to, you're going to cook your steak. You don't want it raw because the eggs don't take that long to cook. And as the steak is browning, I'm going to throw the potatoes in with it, like this. I'm going to take this down a little bit because I think it's a little too hot. Now, if you're using just a baked ham, a ham, if you're using like a deli ham or oven roasted ham, that just has to warm through. So you really want your potatoes a little more done than this. These still have to go a few minutes, but it's just because I wanted to get the steak in here. So we're going to bring this down a little bit. We're going to cover this up, and we're going to let the potatoes and the steak cook a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll be back. So now that looks pretty much done. We're going to just check one potato, the biggest potato you can find. Okay? And that's ready. That's nice and soft and ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little more butter, about a tablespoon or so. Now, as far as a recipe goes on this, it's tough because when we were younger, this was just leftovers, whatever was in the refrigerator, whether it be just potatoes and I love it with peppers and onions and mushrooms. Anything you have. I've made it with sweet potatoes. I've made it with a bunch of stuff. I mean, whatever you have left over in the refrigerator, that's what you want to use. Then we're going to take our eggs and we're going to pour them in there. Try not to get eggs on yourself like I do. And then we're just going to stir this through. Okay. I'm going to lower this down because I don't want it to, I don't like my eggs like brown. Ugh, I like them yellow. They're yellow eggs. I like them yellow. Now I have this pan going for our crostini. See, Carl said crostinis. Bruschetta. Where's my brush? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bread. This is just a regular, what is it? Scali bread. Okay. You can use whatever bread you like, preferably Italian or, you know, a small French bread or something. I'm going to put that in there. And we're going to put this in here. Okay, and then we're going to take some of this Italian bread and we're going to slice it. I'm going to do 4. Oh, you don't want the cutting board on the floor. Okay, I'm going to put this knife over there. And then I'm going to brush this side and brush this side. So you want to grill these. You want to have them grilled. This is really good like on the barbecue grill also. You can barbecue grill these. They come out great on the grill. Excellent on the grill. this one here. Now, depending on how hot your pan is, I like to take my bread a little slow. I don't like to burn my bread. Although when we were in Italy, they take their bread, they have little open flames. They just stick their bread right in the open flames, and it's delicious. So we're gonna let that go, because these are not ready by any chance. Okay, we're gonna come over here and mix up our eggs. Okay, that's a little too low. Now, the potatoes are seasoned, and your steak is seasoned, and your eggs are seasoned. So this will give you a nice, even seasoning through the eggs. I'm gonna cover that up and let it get going. We'll see how these are doing. These are going very slow. This is not a good burner to do this on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this out of the way, because this is just a warming burner. I'm gonna light this one up, because this pan is already hot. So this is just a simmer burner. It really is not a good burner to cook on, but I had the cutting board there. Okay, that should help. Yeah, that'll pick it up. Alrighty, gonna let those go. There we go. You're just gonna keep mixing this around, kind of like scrambled eggs, till it's all set, and then you're just gonna put cheese on it and let it finish. Sometimes they bake these in the oven. They'll do them in a cast iron pan, cast iron skillet, stick them in the oven and let them finish there. I just do them right on the stove top. I do have a cast iron pan, but this is just as easy. Okay. My breads are toasting up a little bit better. I put a plate on them, give them a little bit of weight. All right, now this, I don't want to mix it around too much, because I want it to be like an omelet, okay, but it actually doesn't have to be. This is what we're doing now. We're just going to mix this around one more time, because I don't like my eggs runny either. Oh, nothing worse than a runny egg. Okay, so now what we're going to do at this point is we're going to put American cheese on something. And then I bought myself an Asiago dill cheese that is to die for. It is wonderful. And that's what I'm putting on my half. And here we go. This stuff is beautiful. Look at it. It's got dill in it. It just melts. So wonderful. I got this at a specialty place, and it is delicious. It almost smells like a provolone, but it's not. There we go. We're going to put this down on low, 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 and we're going to cover it up, and we're going to let the cheese melt. Okay? I'm going to put this back over here. We're going to see how this is going. Oh, yeah. Much better since I've used the other burner. Good. Yes, this is hot. Yes, I am burning my fingers. So if you want, use some tongs. And you take a garlic clove, okay, and you rub it on there like so. Yeah. You could also do this after they're done cooking too. Let me get a fresh one here. Okay. Ouch. I'm going to do more than that. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Those look pretty good. All right. I'm just going to give those another minute on that side. I am going to shut off this heat because that is hot enough. And we're going to finish this up at the counter. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to get our bruschetta first. And we're going to take our dish, which is nice and warm, and we're going to put them on our plate. Going to arrange them nicely. You can smell the garlic and the oil. It smells delicious. Okay. Now, you can see how they marinated. They're nice and red, and they got all their beautiful basil and parsley. Oh, it's wonderful. And a little bit of oil you can drizzle on the top of each. Okay. These are a little longer. You could probably cut these in half if you wanted to, you know? But you can also just put them right in your plate and enjoy them like that. Okay. Now what I like on my bruschetta, which isn't real Italian, but feta cheese. This is incredible stuff. I love feta cheese. And I'm just going to take a couple and I'm going to put some feta cheese on those. Those are going to be mine because I think Carl loves feta cheese too. All right, so this is our bruschetta. Alrighty. And the next thing we're going to serve up is our frittata. Okay. Got a nice piece of Italian bread here. I'm going to grab that off the stove. Okay. There we go. I'm going to get a nice serving spoon. And I'm going to take this piece right here with all that wonderful dill cheese. Oh, this is going to be good. There we go. And that is frittata and bruschetta. Have a good night. Thank you for watching Tina Cook. Tonight I'm going to do a frittata. A frittata is like an egg omelet, a big Italian egg omelet. Usually when we were younger, we use our leftovers, whether it be ham or a piece of steak, or we mix it with potatoes and eggs. No? Too much?